My name is Ash. Most of y'all know me as Ash Alakazam ASMR. You know me by my hands, also for crushing. I wanted to come on here while I get ready and explain why I left ASMR and what I'm doing with my life now. And what this channel will become also. So, for starters, I started ASMR about 3 years ago, give or take. And at the time, it was 4 years ago actually. So I started ASMR about 4 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. So essentially I had started watching a lot of ASMR videos to help me fall asleep. Because, you know, when you're pregnant, you can't take sleep aids, and I have severe insomnia. Like, really, I still, to this day, have really bad insomnia. So I started watching ASMR. First, I started watching cleaning videos. You'll remember, you've been with me for a long time, you'll remember that I did cleaning ASMR before. Like, I would do sink stuff and like mop cleaning and all of that. So you'll remember that if you've been here for a long time. But I then transitioned over to chalk ASMR because I was watching it so much that I just had to know what it would be like, right? Like, I think that's how a lot of us start. Like, we start by watching it, and then we're looking at like, what is this like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like in person? And I still remember those days like very vividly, because it like unlocked a world for me that I didn't know existed. So I quickly became, like, over those like initial year, I started to become a little bit more popular in the community, get a lot of video views. But I didn't start getting monetized until maybe like a year later, when I hit, I think it's like 5,000, how many ever subscribers you need on YouTube. So I started getting monetized. And at that point, even with monetization, I think what people who do this hobby, or don't do this hobby, excuse me, who don't do this hobby don't know is that we still come out of our pockets for most things. Like, the monetization does not pay that much unless you're someone really, really big. Y'all know who we're thinking about. So, even though I wasn't getting paid a lot to do it, and I was coming out of my pocket for all the supplies, because the chalk prices had started rising, etc., etc. Now, in between all that, I had my son, and I also, this hair is cracking me up, y'all. I'm just trying to get it done before I could leave. Anyway, at that time I was doing chalk in my pantry. Chalk is, if you've never done chalk ASMR, it is extremely messy. It is very dusty. There's dye everywhere. There's materials everywhere. I had my son, and after he was like a month or two old, I went back to chalk ASMR. Now, I moved when he was a couple of months old, maybe like 6 months. I moved from where I was at, New Mexico, to Pennsylvania. Now, my house in Pennsylvania, I specifically chose this house because it had a huge, like, half-finished basement. Now, that's important for this story because, like, the basement is where I created everything for the next year and a half. So, with chalk being so messy, you need a dedicated space. I had a basement set up, and some of y'all had seen some of it in some videos. I had a basement set up with like multiple dehydrators running at the same time, stations for everything, and that's how I started the business. So when I started the reforms business and the glitter business, like all of that, all in the store, I started that because I had so much chalk powder I needed to get rid of, because you end up collecting like pounds and pounds of chalk powder. So I had so much of that I had to get rid of. And also I knew that if I sold reforms, I would end up, like, it would be a cyclical thing where you sell reforms, you get more followers buy your reforms, and you're also making some more money back. So I did that on and off. And then I started getting really, really sick, not from the chalk. So for starters, chalk, if you're not wearing a mask when you're doing chalk, you're killing your lungs. And I didn't wear a mask for a really long time because you could hear them in the videos. So like that, on top of that, my lungs are not great. But That could be straighter, but we're not going to do anything about it. So anyway, my health started getting bad, and like I was alive and I was, you know, fully, like I wasn't dying. However, I started getting really dizzy and really fatigued, etc., etc. So then, come to find out, I had iron deficiency anemia. So I got diagnosed with that. And this whole time while I was working on the reforms and making videos and all of that, which making reforms is the part that takes the most effort. You can set up and film in like 5 minutes. A video, because I always did one shots pretty much. Like it only took me one take. Those would take like 5 minutes to film, but you're spending an hour to make reforms, and then you've got to wait days for them to dry on the dehydrator and all of that. So, got diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia. Come to find out, I have Crohn's disease, which my mom also has. So, like, not a surprise. But that's what was causing... Oh, I gotta brush my hair. That's what was causing the anemia, is I was internally bleeding from the Crohn's. Okay, so... Mind you, I'm still doing chalk during this time, but I'm starting to slow down because I don't have the energy to keep doing the reforms and the setup. The filming is easy. So I tell people that because it is. Like, the filming part is the easiest part. And I always just set up with my iPhone. I had a tripod, and that was it. Like, you didn't need... And I had some lighting, too. But, like, it wasn't a lot to film it. It's just a lot to make the reforms. So... I got diagnosed with Crohn's. Y'all saw on my post about me leaving that happened. So then, like, I'd started to slow down with content. And I was also kind of just, like, getting a little... It had been 2 years at this point. So I was kind of just getting, like, a little bit over it. Like, I wasn't super excited to film anymore. Sometimes I was. Like, when I made something new or exciting, like, that was still... You know, that was still good for me. But... after the Crohn's disease diagnosis and getting treatment, that's when I slowed way down. I didn't make the announcement until I was getting ready to move into a new house. So I lived in Pittsburgh. My rent was super expensive, and my house was really old. This is important because I needed to move. Like, my house it was not falling apart or anything, but it just wasn't. This is my first time using House Labs, by the way. So we're going to see if it's good or not. It's a little bit paler than my skin, but maybe I'll just use the camera. Anyway, so I needed to move, and I found a house with a basement. But at this time, I still, like, my dogs were still alive. Now, mind you, I had 2 dogs at the time, and one of them passed like right before I moved. So anyway, I had dogs, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to have chalk in the house where they were going to be at. Now, I'm going to give y'all personal life tea while we're here, because why not? Girl, I look like a freaking ghost. Hold on. I don't know that I like that. It's a little dicky. Anyway, so at the time my husband and I had separated, Mr. Alakazam, if y'all remember reading my captions. We had separated. We were still living in the same house, but that meant I had to take the basement to have as my bedroom because we were separated at the time. Now, I won't get on all the tea of that, but it was actually a really good time in my life. We're married again now, but I digress. So, that happened. I needed the basement to live in, and there was no longer anywhere to do chalk. Now, I know some people are very resourceful and will do their chalk ASMR like outside, or they'll do it in their house. But I, like, with a son, with dogs, with all of that, I knew that that wasn't really an option for me. I just knew I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So that's when I made the announcement. Now, mind you, my husband and I were separated for a year. Same house. Didn't talk to the man unless I had to for most of that. But then comes around the time of the election. Now, around the time of the election, I knew that the country was going in a direction that obviously America is where I'm from, for those of y'all that don't know that. I knew the country was going in a direction that I was not thrilled with. And like even politically, this is a 10, by the way, so it's going to look a little crazy, but not just even politically, it was going in a bad direction, in my opinion. But the people, like, I didn't want to live, I'm going to just keep it real with y'all because we're being honest on this chat. I didn't want to live in close proximity to people who believe that racism is okay. Ignore the politics, like take the politics out of it. There are a lot of racists across the board. And my son is biracial. So I did not want to live in proximity to those people anymore, in short. So it's not all about politics. It's just more about, like, I didn't want to live in a country where gun violence is so bad. I didn't want to live in a country where they're like racist and hatred is everywhere and it's legal. I didn't want to do that. So around the time of the election, I started thinking, like, I want to get the hell out of this country. Like, I want to leave. So before the election happened, this was already in my mind, right? I was like, I need to dip. Like, the people are, it's scary. Like, I don't want to live near this type of people anymore. And I'm very privileged in the fact that, like, I have a remote job. My husband was a federal employee. They let the federal employees take the deferred resignation, and he did take it, which was a good choice for him for sure. So started researching where we wanted to go. We were between Uruguay, which is primarily Spanish speaking, and Thailand, which is primarily Thai, but they also speak, like, English is really, really common here in Thailand. Spoiler alert. So over those next couple of months, we start preparing to leave the US. So at this point, I can't, like, chalk content, none of that is on my mind, because I'm like, let me get out of here before super crazy stuff starts happening. And I'm not, like, paranoid or, like, delusional or anything like that. It all goes back to the fact that, like, I don't want to live somewhere where hatred is okay, where it's okay to be hateful. So, and here in Thailand, it's illegal. So, like, we don't have free speech here in Thailand. Anyway, we end up deciding on Thailand in February with plans to move in May. So book my flights, we pull money out, we do what we need to do, get our savings together, get ready to go. So May comes, we move to Thailand, where we're at right now, live in Bangkok. And at this point, I'm realizing, like, I really miss creating content. So most of you don't know this part at all. I've been a content creator off and on for like 10 years. So I started making YouTube content back in 2015. I started making videos like this style. They did, decently well. Not as well as my ASMR, but they did decently well. And I just kind of stopped doing it because I was, like, busy, sick, working, etc., etc. So now that takes me to where I am now. I decide, do y'all see that? I decide when I'm here in Thailand, like, I should be documenting and content creating from here, because so many people do not know anything about Thailand. They've never been here. They're lost. They're thinking about immigrating, etc., etc. So I decided to start doing that. And that takes us to today. So this channel will most likely just be converting to all travel content at this point. I am considering doing like clay cracking or soap cracking ASMR, because I can do that type of stuff. It just takes a lot more prep, but it's not messy in the same way that chalk dust is on the air. Because like now I live in a condo, I can't do chalk, and chalk here is a little bit more expensive. You can't get all the brands. Here you can get clay, you can get soap. Like those are things you can get. So that's why those are like, you know, partially in my mind to do. I'm also using the House Apps Concealer. This I've used before. I never used the foundation before. And honestly, I look smooth here, but I'm already looking like in person a little cracky. So anyway, I may do some other types of ASMR, and I've been, you know, practicing some of like my grocery ASMR, you know, where people just like click it in the cart. I've been doing a little bit of that, but I don't want to start all over in terms of content, because and this is the reason the channel is changing and not and me not making a new one, right? Because you don't want to lose the subscribers that you have, because it all counts towards monetization. And like the goal isn't to make money, but monetization and subscribers and all of that is what gets you more opportunities in terms of content creation. So like, you need subscribers and you need monetization if you want to collaborate with like local brands, which is something I would love to do. You need it, basically you need it for that. So that's why I'm converting the channel, because if I don't convert the channel, I'm losing out on all the previous history that I have with YouTube. I'm scared to do that because this is blush all over it. Okay, all right. So, if you don't like that type of content at all and need to unsubscribe because it's just not what you like, no hard feelings at all. I would love if you would stick around for this journey, but if it's not, like, I know for me, like, I used to only follow ASM artists. I would not follow anyone else ever. Like, I wouldn't subscribe because that's all I would watch on YouTube. I wouldn't watch anything else. So if you need to do that, because that's all the content you watch, again, no hard feelings. I've loved having you here the whole time that we've been together. Like the comments that I always get and still get to this day, those, they made me tear up a little bit. But you guys have been nothing but supportive. It's really rare to get, in 2 years, to only get like 1 or 2 comments of people disliking what you do, and that's all I ever got, right? Like, I don't know, sorry, I can't cry, just did makeup. But the community meant a lot to me then, it still does now. That's why I'd love you if you guys followed me on the rest of my travels and my journeys, because this community has been amazing. This community, I've seen us rally for people's health, for their family. Like, I've seen like, as a community as a whole, we get behind our chalk people. And that's unlike a lot of communities here on YouTube. Like, yeah, it's a really long video. But anyway, I say all that to say, you'll see some travel content, some lifestyle content, maybe some ASMR content in the future. I haven't decided. And if there's anything you would love to see about my life in Thailand, or information about the ASMR community, how to get started, all of that stuff, I remember everything like the back of my hand when it comes to this community. So if you're getting started and you need tips, you need help, I will happily help you. I'll happily tell you where I got everything. I still have my Amazon list. People ask sometimes on TikTok. Sorry, this is a lot of rambling, but you guys deserve to get an explanation of where I've been, what's been happening, and why my content is a little bit different now. So, all right, bye y'all. Peace out. Crush the magic. My hands still remember. You know, your brain, this is what I'll leave you with. You know, your brain can look at any object and determine what they think it's going to feel like by seeing it, or what it would feel like on your tongue specifically. Don't eat chalk, but I can still feel it. Like, I feel exactly what chalk, like, I can see it in my mind. I remember it vividly. So, yeah. All right, bye.